Hey, good afternoon there, Sweet Peas. Basic Prepper Mom Myra. Ooh! Okay, I have a new camera system here, and I hope it's not too terribly bouncy. I still have not got my camera fixed, so wow, that's not very steady. So it looks like I have a weird filter going in here, but hopefully this will work. I want to jump on here. I know I have no makeup on. It is what it is, but have errands to run today, so I want to take an opportunity to talk about something. So I don't like to get really political on here. I try not to get really political. However, I do want people to be informed. Now, when I say informed, I don't mean mainstream media informed. I don't mean turn on the 10 o'clock news or 6 o'clock news or 5 o'clock news and be informed as to what is going on your news. Now, it's not bad sometimes to be informed that way, but let's be realistic. That's not going to help you in your situation right now. Now, when I say informed, although sometimes it may seem like I'm talking about politics, I try to be as globally as informed as I possibly can. So that means that I follow quite a few people from different walks of life, not just preparedness type people, but just different walks of life. All over the United States and Canada and even overseas, because I want to know a global situation of what's going on. Now, why do I need to know what's going on globally? Because globally is going to affect us ultimately in the end. And when you hear things that are announced or talked about on a global level, you know that you've got at least a few weeks, if not a couple of months or so, before it actually hits us. So when you talk about a global economy or a global shortage, you know that eventually it's going to get you, but at least you have time to prepare for it, okay? It's kind of like a hurricane warning or a tropical storm warning. You know it's out there, you know it's going to come at you, but at least you have a little bit of time, more than not, to prepare for whatever is coming down the line, okay? And that's why I like to be informed globally and not just locally, okay? For example, when we talk about the wheat crisis, right? The wheat shortage, where the Ukrainians are not able to produce as much wheat because of the war over there. They're not able to not only harvest, but they can't now plant. So now we're looking at a wheat shortage. Now, it did not hit us right away, and it still probably hasn't totally affected us. So there is time to go out and prepare for that. Now, instead of going out and getting flour, because we all know that flour does not have, already processed flour does not have a long shelf life, it's pretty reasonable to say I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy different kinds of wheat berries. I'm going to make sure that I have whole grains on hand so that I can process them. Well, what do you need to process those? You need a hand mill or an electric mill, whatever your preference is. I went out and actually got a hand mill that does, I think, 3 or 4 different settings as far as thickness of whatever you're milling at the time. But in case grid goes down, I can still process out that wheat, okay? Then we heard, sorry, there goes my camera again. Wow, this is really bouncy. I don't like this. It's not very stabilizing. And then we talked about India has stopped all export of rice, okay? So, okay, now we're going to be looking at a rice shortage as well as price increases, which we've already seen. Once again, you don't just have to eat rice. You can actually mill rice and make rice flour, right? So now we go out and we get rice. Make sure that you're stocked up on rice. When all of the, bird flu was going around and the poultry factories and manufacturers and producers, they got hit with fires and so forth. Okay, well, now we're looking at that poultry shortage, so maybe we should go out and stock up on chicken and put it in our freezer. So that's what I'm talking about when you talk globally. When they say there's a global shortage or there's a global shortage coming, you should definitely pay attention to whatever they are saying, because at that time, that's what you need to be more focused on, or at least I would be focused on, to stocking up. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to be hypersensitive and focus on just that one thing to stock up. We are just stocking more of that particular item and still stocking up on our other stuff. The other reason why I really like to have this channel is because there's a lot of different ways to do a lot of different things. And I've seen other people do things to where I've gone, hey, that's a really great idea. I like that. I want to do that. I've never thought about that before. But then there's other people that have done things and I'm like, you know, I like how they do that, but I don't know if it's going to work for me and my family. So for right now, I'm going to do it this way. And I'm not saying that everything I do, everything that I say, everything that I put on here is going to be appropriate or going to work for you and your family. What I'm hoping is that I can inform more people to maybe see the way that they do things differently, or even to go, you know what, I understand what she's trying to do, but that's just not going to work for me. You need to do whatever it works for you and your family. That is the number one goal. That is the 100% goal to this, is to just make you informed as to kind of what's going on out there. Give you a different set of eyes and ears, if you will. Now, I suggest at all times, keep your eyes and ears open at all times, all around. Don't just listen to mainstream media, and don't just listen to one or two people, but listen to several different people and keep your eyes and ears peeled, because there is going to be information, there's going to be stuff out there that we can all use, and some of it pertains to us and some of us don't, or some of it doesn't pertain to us. Sorry, my brain is once again working faster than my mouth. But I do want everyone to really be aware of globally what we're looking at as things start to evolve, and as things start to change, and as things are not as available as they used to be, or they're coming down the line. Now, the other thing is economy. We've talked about that too, briefly. The CEO of JP Morgan, one of the biggest money companies around, has said that, yeah, we are looking at a economic downfall. He did actually a presentation and a talk to all of his CEOs and all of his kind of higher up people, and said, you know, we do need to brace for an economic collapse. We do need to brace for things getting really, really bad, however that looks for you. Once again, take that with a grain of salt and do whatever is going to be appropriate for your family. That does not mean that I would say take everything out of the bank right now and put it in mason jars in your yard. If that's what you want to do, if that's what works for you, I support that. But be smart about it. Do I think that everybody needs to be stocking cash away? Absolutely. Do I think that other people or people need to be looking at gold and silver reserves and stocking that stuff away? Possibly. I am not an expert on heavy metals and precious metals, and I don't understand any of it. But I do think it's a good idea to start stashing cash away as much as possible. That's my suggestion. If that works for you and your family, great. If not, do what works for you guys. That's the biggest and most important thing. So that is my talk for today. Once again, if you guys have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. I hope you guys have a wonderful, amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.